Just 5 minutes ago, the speculation came to a definitive end. The palace has broken its silence, and the ruling is final. Prince William has prevailed. Breaking updates now confirm that King Charles has retreated, and Prince Harry's possible invitation to Balmoral this summer has been formally cancelled. For weeks, whispers of reconciliation filled the air. We were told the king sought harmony, but in a striking show of authority, the Prince of Wales is said to have issued an uncompromising veto, effectively sealing off the Scottish Highlands from the Sussexes. This is no longer a simple family diary dispute. This is a shift in power. Insiders claim the Shadow King has emerged from behind the curtain, drawing a boundary that even the reigning monarch would not challenge. Harry isn't merely excluded from a guest list. He is being shut out of the inner circle altogether. No royal residence, no security detail, no private access to the king. What unfolded behind closed doors that compelled King Charles to abandon his reconciliation plans, and what harsh new hotel-only rule has William reportedly imposed on his brother. Welcome to Hollywood today. Stay with us. In the next moments, we are unpacking the confirmed victory of Prince William and exposing the precise red line condition that has left Prince Harry effectively stranded in his own country. The king may have spoken, but the heir has made the call. To understand why the palace executed such a sudden reversal on Prince Harry, we must look past the headlines and straight at the medical files. This chapter is titled, "The Shadow King Takes Control." Officially, the story was that King Charles hoped for a summer gathering to mend family wounds. But those close to the situation suggest the reality of his cancer treatment has demanded ruthless prioritization. At 75, the king is enduring serious medical intervention. His energy is limited, and in the harsh arithmetic of survival, he recognizes he no longer has the strength to manage the Harry storm. This is where Prince William enters, not as a defiant son, but as the Shadow King. Royal observers have noted a subtle, yet undeniable transfer of power in recent months. While Charles remains sovereign, William has effectively assumed the role of chief executive over the family's private matters. He manages the crises, he protects the brand, and when the Balmoral issue arose, William reportedly delivered his father a blunt reality check. Sources say the message was clear. You can have a calm, healing summer, or you can have Harry. You cannot have both. It was an ultimatum framed with care, but reinforced with resolve. William understands that reintegrating the Sussexes would demand endless negotiations, legal vetting, and emotional labor. And who would shoulder that burden? The king is exhausted. Camilla is fiercely protective, and William will not do it. So, the decision was effectively handed to the heir. Historians may one day label this a soft regency. Charles reigns, but when it comes to family discipline, William governs. By withdrawing the invitation, the palace is signaling that stability outweighs sentiment. Order under William has been chosen over chaos under Harry. For Charles the father, it is a devastating choice. He loves his youngest son. But Charles the king understands that William represents the future of the crown. To force a reunion against his heir's wishes would risk alienating the very man holding the monarchy together. He weighed the risk and reached a stark conclusion. He cannot afford to lose William. The olive branch was retracted not because the king stopped caring, but because the Shadow King judged it a strategic misstep. Yet William did not secure this outcome alone. Another influence whispered into the king's ear. A quiet but formidable presence that delivered the final vote to shut the gates. While William stood as the public face of the veto, insiders say the decisive blow came from the one person whose sway over Charles is unquestioned, Queen Camilla. This chapter is known as the Camilla factor. For years, Camilla has played the long game, absorbing criticism, maintaining silence, standing steadfast beside Charles. But silence should never be mistaken for weakness. When the question of Harry's return to Balmoral arose, sources say the Queen consort calmly but decisively delivered her verdict. No, to understand why, we must rewind to January 2023. In Spare, Prince Harry didn't just torch his relationship with his brother. He launched a direct character assault on his stepmother. He painted her as a villain, accused her of sacrificing others to polish her reputation, and claimed he begged his father not to marry her. It was a public humiliation few spouses would ever forgive. Camilla, with characteristic restraint, said nothing publicly, but privately, insiders suggest she drew a firm protective is not vengeance, it is preservation. She lives daily with the king, witnesses firsthand the toll of his cancer treatment, and understands that stress is the enemy of recovery. And let's be honest, Prince Harry brings stress wherever he goes. A source close to the Queen told the Daily Beast that Camilla is fiercely protective of Charles's peace of mind. She reportedly advised that welcoming Harry to Balmoral, meant to be a sanctuary of calm, would undermine that fragile balance. Mightn't be a place of rest, would instead become a high-stress diplomatic war zone. In essence, she posed a blunt question: is risking your health really worth a staged photo moment that could end in yet another Netflix leak? What has emerged from this standoff is one of the most unexpected alliances in royal memory. The William-Camilla pact for years. The dynamic between Diana's eldest son and the woman who replaced her was strained at best, icy at worst. But today, they are aligned by a shared threat and a shared mission. William's priority is safeguarding the crown. Camilla is protecting the man she loves, and for the first time, they stand firmly on the same side. When Prince William advised his father that the Sussexes should not return, he wasn't acting alone. He knew the Queen Consort stood with him. This coordinated pressure left King Charles effectively cornered. On one flank, his heir was prepared to disengage. On the other hand, his wife was warning of serious health consequences. Even a monarch cannot wage a two-front battle against the two people he depends on most. So when the palace confirmed the invitation had been pulled, it wasn't merely William's triumph. It was Camilla's silent enforcement. She has demonstrated that while she may lack royal blood, her influence is formidable, and she has decisively shut the door on the stepson who publicly sought to dismantle her image. Harry is now learning that going after the Queen Consort carries consequences, chief among them losing direct access to the king. But if royal residences are now off limits, where exactly does that leave Prince Harry? The palace has already mapped that out, and the answer comes with a deliberately humiliating twist. If the Balmoral reversal was the emotional fay, what followed was pure logistical degradation. Welcome to what insiders call the Hotel Protocol. For the first time in contemporary royal history, the king's own son is being treated not as family, but as a visiting dignitary, or worse, a tourist. With Balmoral sealed and Frogmore Cottage no longer his, a new rule has reportedly been put in place. If the Duke of Sussex comes to Britain, he books a hotel. This marks a seismic downgrade. Once, staying in a royal residence was a matter of birthright, a signal that you remained under the crown's protection. Now, sources say that even if Harry returns for the Invictus Games or a summer engagement, he will not be housed on royal property. This isn't simply about accommodation. It's about legitimacy and security. A castle stay means family. A hotel stay means celebrity. The palace is deliberately removing the royal aura Harry relies on to sustain relevance abroad. At the same time, a bureaucratic barrier is being reinforced around the king, the 28-day rule. Since Harry is no longer a working royal and lacks UK police protection, he must provide nearly a month's notice to the Home Office for security arrangements. Insiders say the palace is using this regulation as a buffer, should Harry attempt a spontaneous visit to reconcile with his father. As he did earlier this year, he would likely be turned away with a polite but firm response. Security cannot be arranged on short notice. He now needs an official appointment to see his own father, just like a foreign leader or senior diplomat. Before we continue, let me pause briefly to connect with you, our loyal Legacies Edge community, as we discuss Harry losing his UK base. I hope that wherever you're watching from today, your own home is a place of peace, safety, and good health. It's an honor to share these stories with viewers across the world, and I'd love to know where you're joining us from. Drop your city and country in the comments below, and let's see just how global this family has become. Now, back to the deeper purpose behind the Hotel Protocol, because it serves one overriding function: controlling the narrative. Prince William and palace strategists understand that lodging changes everything. If Harry is inside Balmoral, Any leak appears to come from within the walls. If he's in a hotel, he's outside the perimeter, isolated. The palace can plausibly deny responsibility for whatever follows. He's no longer treated as a relative to be hosted, but as a variable to be managed. The message to the public is equally brutal and unmistakable. Picture the optics: the king at Balmoral, the heir at Amer Hall, and the Duke of Sussex checked into a private hotel. It visually cements Harry's outsider status. And that is precisely the outcome William is engineering. He is creating a new normal one, where Harry is physically and symbolically removed from the heart of the monarchy. But this absolute separation isn't driven solely by punishment. There is a more urgent motive. At the center of this fortified circle is a patient in recovery, the most vulnerable and vital figure in the royal family at this moment. And William is prepared to scorch every remaining bridge to ensure that the protective bubble remains intact. Beyond the maneuvering, the protocols, and the palace politics, there is one deeply human reason Prince William has brought this reunion to a hard stop. A reason that overrides every other consideration: the health and recovery of the Princess of Wales. This chapter is known as protecting the Kate bubble. Strip away the crowns and titles for a moment and face reality. Princess Catherine is in the middle of a serious recovery process. Anyone who has supported a loved one through illness understands the fundamental rule of healing. Stress is toxic. Doctors and recovery specialists are unanimous. A patient needs peace, consistency, and an environment free of emotional volatility. Prince William, not just as heir, but as a fiercely protective husband, has reportedly built what insiders describe as a ring of steel around his wife. This ring defines an inner circle reserved for those who bring comfort, discretion, and absolute trust. Her parents Carol and Michael Middleton, her siblings, and a small, loyal staff. Outside that circle is anyone who carries the risk of tension, chaos, or betrayal, and regrettably, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle fall squarely into that category. William's reasoning is stark and unsentimental. Even if Harry arrived with sincere intentions, his presence would unleash a storm of nervous energy. Picture the scene: a family dinner at Balmoral. Instead of calm conversation, everyone is guarded. Is someone recording this? Will a casual remark surface in Spare, Part 2? Will tonight's exchange be dissected tomorrow morning on American television? That constant vigilance, the feeling of tiptoeing inside your own home, drives cortisol levels through the roof, something a recovering patient simply cannot afford. Insiders say William is resolute that Kate will not spend a single fragment of her limited strength managing the Sussex dynamic. Her sole priority must be healing. From William's perspective, blocking Harry's return is not personal. It is medical. Sources also suggest William was furious that the king even entertained the idea of the visit, viewing it as a failure to grasp the pressure Kate is under. He has drawn a biological line in the sand. The message is unmistakable: attack me, write about me, do whatever you want, but you will not disrupt my wife's peace while she is vulnerable. This approach also exposes the sharp contrast between the two families. Look at the Middletons. They have closed ranks around Kate in complete silence. No leaks, no interviews, no theatrics, just presence and support. Now compare that to the Sussex model, where every interaction becomes content. William understands he cannot control Harry's actions, but he can control Harry's proximity. And until Kate is fully restored, physically and emotionally, the bubble around her remains sealed. That is why the revoked invitation is not a tactic or a bargaining chip. It is final. It is a protective order. William has chosen the mother of the future king over the brother of the past. And by framing this decision as a matter of health, he has effectively cornered the Sussexes. If Harry and Meghan protest, they risk appearing cruel and indifferent to a sick woman's recovery. They are boxed in, but that doesn't mean they will remain quiet. In fact, the palace's silence is almost guaranteed to provoke a loud response from California as the Balmoral gates swing shut. The aftershocks are already being felt 5,000 miles away in Montecito. This brings us to the next chapter, the Montecito reaction. How will the Duke and Duchess of Sussex respond to such a public exclusion? If history is any guide, Their next steps are highly predictable. Silence is not an option. It never is, but the palace is ready this time. For the first time, the royal family is deploying a psychological tactic known as the Grey Rock method. To understand why, let's examine the Sussex playbook. Harry and Meghan's brand is built on victimhood. Their power comes from portraying themselves as exiles mistreated by a cold institution. Being barred from Balmoral actually fits neatly into that narrative, if they spin it correctly. Expect unnamed sources close to the Sussexes to surface an outlet painting the palace's stance as heartless and vindictive. The goal is provocation. They want a public clash because conflict gives them parody and content for future projects. But Prince William and the palace have finally learned how to counter this. They are embracing the Grey Rock strategy. In psychological terms, Grey Rocking is used when dealing with manipulative personalities. You don't engage, you don't argue, you don't emote. You respond with dull, procedural neutrality, security guidelines, scheduling constraints, accommodation rules. By doing so, the palace deprives the drama of oxygen. When Harry protests, "You don't love me," the response is, "Please submit Form 28B for security clearance." When Meghan claims, "We're being rejected," the reply becomes, "Unfortunately, the residence is unavailable due to summer maintenance. Here is a curated list of recommended 5-star hotels." It's a masterclass in administrative strategy. You can't spin a scheduling form into a bombshell Oprah moment. You can't build a best-selling memoir around being politely instructed to reserve a hotel room. By reducing rejection to dull bureaucracy, William is stripping the Sussexes of the one thing they crave even more than status: relevance. And this palace response also exposes just how fragile the Sussex brand has become. Harry and Meghan are standing on shaky ground. The Spotify deal imploded. Their standing in Hollywood is eroding. They urgently need to reconnect themselves to royal mystique to maintain commercial value. A single summer photograph at Balmoral with the king would have been worth millions in public relations currency. It would have broadcast a powerful signal: we're still insiders. We still matter. By pulling the invitation, William didn't merely wound their pride, he damaged their business model. He severed their access to royal legitimacy at the source. So while statements emerging from California may sound wounded and furious, the underlying emotion is far more dangerous: panic. The Sussexes are coming to terms with a hard truth. Threatening revelations no longer carry weight because the family has stopped responding. The iron wall formed by William, Anne, and Camilla is unmoved by intimidation. They've chosen silence. And for a couple whose relevance depends on noise, silence is the ultimate sanction. The palace has effectively boxed them in. If they protest too loudly, they appear entitled, complaining about a lost luxury retreat while the Princess of Wales recovers. If they say nothing, they risk slipping into irrelevance. Checkmate, Montecito. As the fallout from this explosive week begins to settle, one reality stands above all others. The old doctrine of never complain, never explain is evolving into something sharper. Draw the line and defend it. From the hotel protocol to the cancellation of the Balmoral invitation, Prince William has delivered a message that resonates far beyond royal walls. This saga carries a universal lesson about life and relationships. You cannot set fire to the house and still expect an invitation to dinner. For years, Prince Harry demanded independence. Today, the palace is granting him exactly that: the freedom of a private citizen, complete with the distance that entails. It's a severe lesson in consequences. Boundaries are not acts of cruelty. They are safeguards for peace. William is showing us that sometimes leadership and love require accepting the role of villain in someone else's story to protect what truly matters. From my vantage point here at Legacy's Edge, this is the moment Prince William truly came into his own. He rejected the easy optics of a staged reconciliation and chose the harder road of principle. He placed the mental and physical well-being of a recovering mother above the wounded ego of a resentful brother. That isn't just monarchy, that's leadership. Now, the final verdict rests with you, the court of public opinion. Do you believe William's hotel protocol is a justified consequence, or has the palace gone too far? Cast your vote below. Type justice if you believe Harry has earned this exclusion through his own actions. Type peace if you think William should let the past go and welcome his brother home. Your voices power this channel. Make them count. And if you value our unfiltered pursuit of truth, tap like, subscribe to Hollywood Today, and ring the bell so you never miss a breaking update as we track this new shadow reign. I'm Man wishing you strength in your own battles. Until next time, guard your boundaries.